Dark secrets about New Edition. Members that shocked fans. Did you know that one of New Edition's concerts once ended in chaos, with fists flying, microphones dropped, and even gunshots echoing through the arena? For millions of fans who grew up idolizing the group's polished dance routines and romantic ballads, the truth felt like a secret file ripped wide open. What was supposed to be a night of nostalgia turned into a scene straight out of a crime thriller. But that shocking night was only one chapter in a story full of betrayals, addictions, and behind-the-scenes drama that would haunt the group for decades. From the outside, New Edition looked untouchable. 6 young men who rose from the streets of Boston to the heights of international stardom, redefining what it meant to be a boy band. They had the charm, the hits, the screaming fans, and for a time they had each other. But behind the smiles was a ticking time bomb. Alleged secret deals, money that mysteriously vanished, backstage fights, and personal demons threatened to destroy everything they had built. The hidden truth. Their journey was far from glamorous. These weren't just innocent kids who got lucky. They were teenagers exploited by contracts, pushed into endless tours, and forced to grow up too fast in an industry that devoured its stars. And while fans danced to Candy Girl and sang along to Cool It Now, the members themselves were wrestling with choices that would change their lives forever. Bobby Brown's rebellion against the group's clean-cut image was more than teenage mischief. It was a direct challenge to the foundation of New Edition. His absences, his provocative moves, his defiance all chipped away at the group's unity. Meanwhile, Ricky Bell's battle with addiction, hidden for years, almost ended his life in silence. And perhaps the most shocking betrayal of all, the moment Ralph Tresvant and Johnny Gill secretly trademarked the group's name, blindsiding the others and sparking a cold war inside the Brotherhood. Fans only saw the glittering lights, the matching outfits, the choreographed smiles. What they didn't see was the cost. The broken trust, the overdose, scares, the near-violent implosions. These were not just performers. They were brothers, turned rivals, friends, turned enemies, legends, turned survivors. So tonight we open the vault on New Edition's darkest secrets. Alleged stories pulled from interviews, documentaries, and first-hand accounts. Unseen truths that flip the script on everything you thought you knew about the group. Were they victims of a ruthless industry? Or were they the architects of their own downfall? Stay with us, because the revelations ahead may change the way you see New Edition forever. Before we dive deep into the story of New Edition, let's set the stage. What you're about to hear is not just a history lesson. It's a journey into the untold files, the whispered conversations, and the alleged secrets that have followed this legendary group for over 4 decades. Our mission in this video is clear: to peel back the polished image and uncover the drama, the betrayals, and the scandals that shocked even their most loyal fans. But here's an important note. Everything we're sharing comes from publicly available information, interviews, documentaries, news reports, court documents, and first-hand accounts shared over the years. Some of these details are verified through official records, while others are alleged, drawn from personal testimonies and media coverage at the time. We are not here to pass judgment, but to present the story as it has been told piece by piece by those who lived it and those who witnessed it. Why does this matter? Because New Edition isn't just any group. They represent a cultural movement, a sound that shaped generations, and a legacy that continues today. And yet even legends have shadows. By laying out these stories, our goal is not to sensationalize, but to understand how did a band of young dreamers from Boston climb to superstardom only to face some of the darkest trials imaginable behind the scenes. In this video, you will hear about the financial exploitation that nearly broke them, the internal rivalries that turned brothers into enemies, and the shocking incidents from on-stage brawls to courtroom battles that tested their bond again and again. You'll learn about Bobby Brown's infamous clashes with the group, Ricky Bell's hidden struggle with addiction, and the behind-closed-doors decision that nearly tore the New Edition name apart forever. Still, let us be clear. These accounts are presented as they have been reported and discussed publicly. Some events remain disputed. Some memories differ depending on who tells the story. And in that gray area of truth versus perception lies the real fascination of New Edition's saga. Was it the cruelty of the music industry that pushed them to the edge, or their own choices and egos that lit the fuse that ultimately is for you, the viewer, to decide? So consider this video your guided tour through the secret archives of New Edition. We promise you revelations, emotional twists, and a deeper understanding of the human struggles behind the spotlight. But remember, while some details may sound shocking, everything you're about to hear is either documented alleged by insiders or revealed in past media reports. We are not here to accuse, we are here to explore. Stay with us, because the road ahead is filled with secrets that will forever change the way you see one of R&B's greatest groups. To understand the dark secrets that shocked fans, we first need to step back into the early 1980s, when 6 young boys from Boston dared to dream bigger than their neighborhood streets. In 1983, they officially burst onto the scene with their debut single, Candy Girl, a track so infectious it climbed the R&B charts and secured them a spot on the Billboard Hot 100. At that moment, New Edition wasn't just a group, they were the future of R&B, a new generation's answer to the Jackson 5. At the heart of the story are 6 very different personalities. Bobby Brown, brash and rebellious, was the spark and the troublemaker, the one who wanted to break free from the group's clean-cut image. His defiance would later push him out of New Edition and into a turbulent solo career filled with both fame and scandal. Ricky Bell, known for his smooth voice and quiet demeanor, seemed like the stable presence in the group. But behind that calm exterior, Ricky would later reveal a secret battle with substance abuse, an addiction that nearly cost him everything, including his life. Michael Bivins, the business-minded hustler, brought sharp instincts and street smarts. He wasn't just a performer. He had the vision to transform himself into a music executive. But even he couldn't escape the chaos when rivalries inside the band spiraled out of control. Ralph Tresvant, the lead singer, carried the weight of being the group's signature voice. Charismatic and soft-spoken, Ralph often felt torn should he remain loyal to New Edition or branch out as a solo star. That tension would quietly fuel divisions, especially when questions of leadership and ownership came into play. Ronnie DeVoe, the youngest, added charisma and energy on stage. Yet as the group fractured, Ronnie found himself caught in the middle, loyal to his brothers, but struggling to hold the family together. Finally, there was Johnny Gill, the outsider from Washington, D.C., who joined in 1987. With his powerful vocals, Johnny gave New Edition a more mature sound, revitalizing their career with the Heartbreak album. But years later, his decision alongside Ralph to trademark the group's name without the others would ignite one of the most bitter battles in their history. These 6 men were more than bandmates. They were childhood friends, brothers in music, bound by a dream that started in talent shows and street corners. Yet as fame grew, so did the shadows. Money, power, addiction, and betrayal would test their loyalty again and again. And it is within these very characters, the rebel, the quiet struggler, the businessman, the reluctant leader, the loyal youngest, and the latecomer, that the darkest secrets of New Edition took root. This isn't just the story of a boy band. It's the story of 6 men, each carrying scars that fans never saw under the bright stage lights. The story of New Edition is more than just a discography. It's a roller coaster of fame, betrayal, survival, and secrets that fans never imagined. To truly understand their dark side, we need to follow the timeline of events that shaped, scarred, and nearly destroyed one of R&B's most iconic groups. 1983. Candy Girl and the Illusion of Success. It all began in 1983, when Candy Girl exploded onto the airwaves. 6 teenagers from Boston, Bobby Brown, Ricky Bell, Michael Bivins, Ralph Tresvant, Ronnie DeVoe, and later Johnny Gill, had just created the soundtrack of a new generation. The single shot up the R&B charts, even landing on the Billboard Hot 100. Suddenly, New Edition was everywhere on TV, in magazines, and on stages across America. Fans believed these young stars were on the fast track to wealth and security. But behind the curtain, the reality was brutal. After completing their first big tour, the group returned home expecting riches only to receive checks worth just $187 each. Management claimed tour expenses ate up the profits. For kids who had just filled arenas, the shock was devastating. It was their first taste of the industry's dark side exploitation hidden beneath glittering lights. 1984. A legal escape and new challenges. Determined not to be used again, the group sued to escape their contract with producer Maurice Starr. They won, but Starr quickly struck back by creating New Kids on the Block, a white version of New Edition marketed to the same audience. It was a painful reminder of how disposable the industry could be. Still, the boys pushed forward, signing with MCA Records. Their self-titled second album produced Cool It Now and Mr. Telephone Man going double platinum. But even as the spotlight grew brighter, cracks inside the group began to widen. 1986. Bobby Brown walks away. By 1986, Bobby Brown's rebellious streak could no longer be ignored. He hated the teeny bop image and wanted to perform like a grown man. He skipped rehearsals, smoked weed backstage, and even hurled a microphone at Michael Bivins mid-show. On stage, he added raunchy moves that clashed with the group's wholesome style. The tension became unbearable. That year, Bobby left the group voluntarily, or forced out depending on who tells the story. For fans, it was the first major fracture in the brotherhood. For Bobby, it was the start of a stormy solo career filled with platinum hits and tabloid scandals. 1988. Heartbreak and a second wind. With Bobby gone, New Edition seemed fragile, but the addition of Johnny Gill in 1987 gave the group a new sound, mature, soulful, and powerful. Their 1988 album Heartbreak, produced by Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, became a landmark. Hits like If It Isn't Love and Can You Stand the Rain redefined their image. The Heartbreak Tour was massive, with Bobby Brown ironically joining as a solo opening act. Fans marveled at the strange mix, the old family together, but now as rivals sharing the same stage. It was a reminder that unity and division often walked hand in hand in the New Edition story. 1997. Home Again Tour turns violent. After nearly a decade apart, fans rejoiced when New Edition reunited for the Home Again album and tour in 1997. On paper, it was a dream. In reality, it was a nightmare. In Las Cruces, New Mexico, things spiraled out of control. Bobby Brown stretched his solo set too long. Ronnie DeVoe tried to pull him off stage, sparking a fistfight with Michael Bivins. The scuffle escalated into chaos and shockingly gunshots rang out. Security rushed the stage. The concert ended in disaster and Bobby and Bivins abandoned the tour soon after. For fans, it was a heartbreaking revelation the men they idolized were not just bickering, they were tearing each other apart in front of the world. 2000s, 2014. Broken bonds and silent struggles. The years that followed saw scattered reunions and failed attempts at harmony. By the early 2000s, solo careers, family struggles, and personal demons had driven wedges deeper than ever. In 2014, they reunited again for a nationwide tour. But tragedy loomed over Bobby Brown, who was grappling with the death of his ex-wife, Whitney Houston, and soon after the loss of his daughter, Bobby Christina. On stage, Bobby often stumbled, unable to finish routines. The heartbreak was visible. 2017. Ricky Bell's Secret Battle. Revealed the BET miniseries. The New Edition story pulled back the curtain in 2017. Fans were stunned to learn that Ricky Bell, the quiet, reliable one, had nearly lost everything to cocaine, ecstasy, and OxyContin. At one point, he sold even his designer boots to feed his habit. He overdosed in silence, nearly dying before entering rehab. Unlike Bobby, Ricky's addiction had been hidden. The revelation shocked fans. Even the most stable member was fighting demons no one saw. 2017. The trademark betrayal. That same year, another bombshell dropped. While the world was celebrating their biopic Ralph Tresvant and Johnny Gill, quietly trademarked the New Edition name without telling the others. Bobby Brown, Michael Bivins, Ricky Bell, and Ronnie DeVoe felt betrayed. Two factions formed, Ralph and Johnny on one side, the other four creating RBRM. For the first time, the fight wasn't about money or image, it was about ownership of their very identity. Fans who had begged for unity were stunned to see the brotherhood split by legal filings. 2022, 2024. The legacy lives, but at a cause. Years later, they finally reached peace-signing documents to share equal ownership of the New Edition brand. In 2022, they embarked on the Culture Tour, followed by the Legacy Tour in 2023. In 2024, they announced a Las Vegas residency, proving the demand for New Edition still burned strong. But the shadows of the past never fully disappeared. The memories of exploitation fights, addictions, and betrayals remained etched into the story. Their legacy today is as much about survival as it is about success. Conclusion of timeline. From 1983's Innocent Candy Girl to a 2024 Vegas stage, New Edition's journey is a cautionary tale. Behind every chart-topping hit were dark secrets, contracts that robbed them, blind fights that nearly turned deadly addictions, that almost claimed lives, and betrayals that fractured trust. And yet through it all, they remained together, scarred but standing. For fans, the question is unavoidable. Is New Edition a story of resilience or a warning of how fame devours its own? When a story has lasted more than 4 decades, separating fact from rumor becomes one of the hardest challenges. The saga of New Edition is no different. Their rise and fall has been told through official records, televised dramas, candid interviews, and whispered rumors from those who claim to be close. To uncover the dark secrets that shocked fans, we must draw a line between what is verified and what remains alleged. Financial exploitation. Verified. The $187 paycheck scandal from 1984 is not just a rumor, it is documented. Multiple outlets, including Rolling Stone and the BET biopic. The New Edition story confirmed that after a nationwide tour, the boys returned home to find themselves nearly broke. Their management at the time cited tour expenses as the reason. This fact, verified by legal documents and lawsuits, illustrates the systemic exploitation of young artists in the music industry. The Bobby Brown conflict. Verified and alleged, Bobby Brown's clashes with the group have both documented and disputed layers. Verified. In the BET miniseries and in Bobby's own autobiography, Every Little Step, he admitted to skipping rehearsals, smoking marijuana, and deliberately pushing the envelope with sexual dance moves. These actions are corroborated by his bandmates' interviews. Ralph Tresvant publicly stated, "He just started doing Bobby Brown stuff." Alleged. Some insiders claim Bobby was intentionally pushed out by management to maintain the group's wholesome image, while others insist he left voluntarily to pursue his solo career. The truth likely lies somewhere in between, but the ambiguity keeps fans debating. The 1997 Home Again Tour. Fight verified and alleged. One of the most shocking incidents in the group's history happened in Las Cruces, New Mexico. Verified reports from local media and tour staff confirm that Bobby Brown overstayed his solo set, leading to a fight with Ronnie DeVoe and Michael Bivins. Punches were thrown and security intervened. Alleged. The claim that gunshots were fired backstage has circulated for years. TMZ and fan accounts referenced it, but no official police report has ever surfaced confirming shots inside the venue. Still, the chaos was undeniable, and the fight led to Bobby and Bivins quitting the tour. Ricky Bell's addiction. Verified. Unlike many music industry secrets, Ricky Bell's struggles are fully verified. In the BET biopic and later interviews, Ricky confessed to an addiction that spiraled during the 1990s. He admitted to using cocaine, ecstasy, OxyContin, and alcohol. His wife, Amy, recounted finding him unconscious from an overdose, an incident kept private until the docuseries aired. Ricky himself wrote on social media, "I shared my closely guarded story of pain and addiction for the sole purpose of gifting hope and inspiration." This wasn't rumor, it was Ricky's own testimony. And it shocked fans because he had always seemed like the quiet, stable member. Trademark betrayal verified. The trademark battle in 2017 is another documented fact. According to the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, Ralph Tresvant and Johnny Gill legally registered the New Edition name in their own names. The other members, Bobby, Bivins, Ricky, and Ronnie, publicly expressed frustration, leading to the split that birthed RBRM. Verified legal filings and interviews on The Breakfast Club confirmed the trademark registration. Alleged. Some insiders whispered that Ralph and Johnny were pressured by outside business partners to secure the name, suggesting it wasn't purely their decision. That part remains unproven, but the fracture it caused was very real. Whitney Houston and Bobby Brown's turmoil verified and alleged. Though not directly about New Edition, Bobby's marriage to Whitney Houston became tabloid fuel. Verified. Their toxic relationship was documented in court filings, police reports, and the reality show Being Bobby Brown. Drug use and domestic disputes were undeniable. Alleged. Some tabloids painted Bobby as the sole cause of Whitney's downfall, while others argue Whitney had her own battles long before they met. The truth is murky, but the scandal bled into New Edition's reputation, with Bobby's absences and breakdowns affecting tours. Health struggles on tour verified. In 2014, TMZ reported Bobby Brown leaving mid-performance during a reunion tour, struggling to keep up with dance routines. His representatives confirmed he had undergone a medical procedure. This was verified by video footage from the concert itself, where Bobby visibly faltered before walking off stage. Media narratives versus fan testimonies. Throughout their career, much of New Edition's story has been filtered through biopics, documentaries, and interviews. While these provide strong evidence, they are not free from bias. Each member has told the story differently. Bobby often paints himself as misunderstood. Ricky admits fault but emphasizes redemption. Ralph and Johnny defend their trademark decision as business, not betrayal. Michael Bivins often frames himself as the peacemaker. Fan accounts, especially from those present at concerts like the 1997 tour, provide color, but remain alleged unless backed by official reports. Still, these personal testimonies add texture to the mythos surrounding the group. Why distinguishing matters. Separating verified fact from alleged rumor is crucial because New Edition's legacy is more than gossip, it's cultural history. If we lean only on scandal, we reduce them to tabloid caricatures. If we lean only on their polished image, we ignore the pain that shaped their art. By cross-referencing legal filings, biopics, TMZ coverage, and first-hand admissions, we can confidently say, verified financial exploitation, Bobby's rebellion, Ricky's addiction, the trademark battle, and Bobby's health struggles. Alleged details of the 1997 gunshots, management conspiracies, and certain personal motives behind betrayals. Conclusion of evidence section. The story of New Edition is stitched together from courtroom papers, televised dramatizations, raw interviews, and whispered rumors. Some secrets are undeniable, like Ricky's addiction or the $187 paycheck. Others remain foggy, kept alive by conflicting memories and sensational headlines. For fans, the duality is what makes the group's journey so gripping. They were not just performers on a stage. They were young men navigating fame, temptation, betrayal, and survival. And as with any legend, the truth is both verified fact and alleged mystery, two sides of the same coin that ensure the story of New Edition will never stop sparking debate. To truly understand the dark secrets of New Edition, we need to look at the invisible web that bound and often strangled the group together. These weren't just 6 singers. They were 6 personalities locked in a delicate dance of loyalty, rivalry, and survival. Bobby Brown versus Michael Bivins. The most explosive connection is between Bobby Brown and Michael Bivins. Once childhood friends, their bond unraveled on stage during the infamous Home Again tour of 1997. Bobby overstayed his solo set, and when Bivins and Ronnie DeVoe tried to intervene, fists flew. This wasn't just about time on stage, it was about ego. Bobby, hungry for the spotlight and determined to shed the teeny bop image, clashed with Bivins, the pragmatic businessman who believed in discipline and order. Their conflict symbolized the larger struggle, raw star power versus group loyalty. Ricky Bell and Amy Correa. Bell. In the shadows stood Ricky Bell, whose battle wasn't public until decades later. His most critical link was with his wife, Amy. She introduced him to ecstasy, a decision that opened the door to heavier drugs like cocaine and OxyContin. Their relationship became both a lifeline and a trigger. Amy was the one who found him overdosed, but also the partner who stayed as he rebuilt his life. This link reminds us that not all of New Edition's drama played out on stage. Some of it unfolded behind closed doors where love and destruction intertwined. Ralph Tresvant and Johnny Gill versus RBRM. The coldest fracture came in 2017 when Ralph Tresvant and Johnny Gill secretly trademarked the New Edition name. To them, it was a business move securing the group's identity in uncertain times. To Bobby, Bivins, Bell, and DeVoe, who later formed RBRM, it was betrayal. The network split into two factions, one driven by legal ownership, the other by loyalty to the original brotherhood. The trademark battle wasn't just paperwork. It was the embodiment of decades of tension over who truly represented New Edition. Motives beneath the surface. Money. From the $187 paychecks in 1984 to the $100,000 loans they each owed MCA Financial Exploitation shaped their choices. Control of the trademark later became a fight, not just for legacy, but for revenue streams tied to tours and merchandise. Fame Bobby Brown's hunger to escape the teeny bop label and carve his own identity drove him into conflict with nearly every member. His rebellion wasn't only personal, it was symbolic of the pressure to grow up faster than the group's image allowed. Power. Ralph and Johnny's legal maneuvering highlighted the ultimate power struggle: who owns New Edition. Was it the voice, the brand, or the collective history? The bigger picture. Each link: Bobby versus Bivins, Ricky versus his own demons. Ralph and Johnny versus RBRM formed a network fueled by money, fame, and control. Together, these relationships reveal why New Edition's story has always felt less like a music career and more like a survival saga. Every legendary story has two sides, and in the case of New Edition, sometimes three or four. While many of the dark secrets have been told in documentaries and interviews, not all members agree on the same version of events. These contradictions create space for doubt, debate, and unanswered questions. Ralph Tresvant's alleged departure. For years, rumors circulated that Ralph Tresvant wanted to leave the group in the late 1980s to launch a solo career. Some fans believed this was the spark that led the group to bring in Johnny Gill. Yet Ralph himself has repeatedly denied the claim, stating he never seriously considered leaving. In interviews, he insisted, "I was never looking to abandon the group. It was about growth, not separation." This raises a critical question. Was the Ralph exit narrative exaggerated by management or the media to build suspense around Johnny's arrival? The 1997 gunshot controversy. The Home Again tour fight in Las Cruces is one of the most shocking stories, but was it as violent as fans believe? Verified reports confirm the brawl between Bobby Brown, Ronnie DeVoe, and Michael Bivins. However, the claim that gunshots were fired backstage remains disputed. Some eyewitnesses swear they heard them, while others argue it was never proven. No police records have confirmed firearms were discharged. Could the story have grown over time, turning a fight into a legend of chaos? Bobby Brown's role in Whitney Houston's tragedy. Another polarizing issue lies outside the group, but bleeds into its image. Bobby Brown's marriage to Whitney Houston. Tabloids painted him as the villain who dragged Whitney into addiction. Yet Bobby has publicly pushed back, saying, "I wasn't the one who started her drug use. That was already there before me." Friends of Whitney, including some family members, support his claim. This conflict leaves fans divided. Was Bobby truly the catalyst, or was he unfairly scapegoated for problems that were already present? The trademark, battle, betrayal, or business? When Ralph Tresvant and Johnny Gill trademarked the New Edition name, it was framed as betrayal by the other members. But Ralph and Johnny defended themselves, saying it was strictly business, a move to protect the brand from outsiders. Johnny explained in an interview, it wasn't about shutting anyone out. It was about making sure the name belonged to us, not some corporation. This alternative framing raises doubt. Were they power-hungry or simply more vigilant? Addiction narratives. Ricky Bell's addiction shocked fans, but here too lies a debate. Some argue that the BET biopic dramatized his struggles for storytelling impact, condensing years of struggle into shocking scenes. Ricky himself has admitted the timeline was stretched for TV. While the addiction was real, how much of the portrayal was faithful to reality, and how much was for dramatic effect? Conclusion. The contradictions in New Edition's story show us that truth is rarely black and white. Whether it's Ralph denying he wanted to leave Bobby defending himself against Whitney's legacy, or Johnny claiming the trademark move was protective, each counterpoint exposes gaps in the narrative. These low-hung holes don't weaken the story. They make it more human, more complex, and more open to debate. And in that debate lies the very reason fans remain captivated. New Edition's darkest secrets are not just history, but mysteries still waiting to be solved. Every great story has its boiling point, the moment when the tension explodes and the mask of perfection finally shatters. For New Edition, that moment came in 1997 during what was supposed to be a triumphant reunion. The Home Again tour had been marketed as a celebration, 6 original members back together, reliving the magic that defined their youth. But what fans witnessed was anything but harmony. In Las Cruces, New Mexico, the simmering rivalries burst into chaos. Bobby Brown stretched his solo set far longer than planned, ignoring cues to wrap it up. Tensions backstage reached breaking point when Michael Bivins and Ronnie DeVoe stepped in, demanding Bobby leave the stage. Instead of complying, Bobby dropped his microphone and fists flew. The fight spilled across the stage, and fans watched in horror as childhood friends turned into bitter combatants right before their eyes. Then came the twist no one expected. Amid the chaos, rumors spread of gunshots fired backstage. Some swore they heard the blasts. Others said it was confusion amplified by the mayhem. While official reports never confirmed it, the whispers alone were enough to cement this night as one of the darkest in the group's history. A tour designed to unite them had ended with violence, broken trust, and Bobby and Bivins quitting mid-run. For many fans, the illusion of brotherhood was shattered forever. But the Home Again tour wasn't the only dark twist in New Edition's saga. Years later, the BET biopic revealed a secret that blindsided even the most loyal fans: Ricky Bell's hidden addiction. Unlike Bobby Brown, whose troubles were tabloid fodder, Ricky had always been seen as the steady, dependable one. That image collapsed when he confessed to spiraling into drug use in the 1990s. The most haunting detail: at his lowest, Ricky admitted to selling his prized Timberland boots, custom-designed, autographed, and personal, to fund his next high. For fans, this revelation was more than shocking, it was heartbreaking. Ricky wasn't the loud rebel or the troublemaker, he was the quiet backbone. To learn that he had been silently fighting for his life, nearly overdosing in his own bathroom, exposed just how deep the fractures ran inside the group. These twists, the brawl that turned a reunion into a riot, and the overdose that almost claimed a brother's stand, as brutal reminders. New Edition's story was never just about music. It was about survival, ego, temptation, and the high cost of fame. And just when fans thought they had seen it all, another betrayal, the trademark battle, would prove that the darkest secrets weren't only in the past, but waiting just around the corner. After 4 decades of turbulence, breakups, reunions, and scandals, New Edition is still standing. In 2023, they completed the Legacy Tour, proving that even after years of chaos, the demand for their music remains unshaken. And in 2024, they took another bold step, announcing a Las Vegas residency. For many artists, a Vegas residency is the ultimate symbol of stability, a chance to plant roots, perform consistently, and cement a legacy in front of fans from around the world. But here's the real question: what's next for New Edition? On one hand, the group's decision to share equal ownership of the trademark suggests they've finally learned from past mistakes. By ensuring that all 6 members are recognized as legal co-owners, they've removed one of the most divisive issues in their history. That could mean smoother business deals, fairer revenue sharing, and fewer backstage battles over control. In theory, this opens the door to new projects, possibly even a long-awaited studio album. Imagine New Edition releasing fresh music in an era dominated by streaming platforms, bringing their classic sound to a new generation. Yet history tells us caution is necessary. The same egos and old wounds that caused explosions in 1997 and legal battles in 2017 haven't simply vanished. Bobby Brown's health remains fragile. Ricky Bell continues to maintain his sobriety, and the group's ability to balance 6 strong personalities will always be tested under the pressure of touring and performing. Fans can't help but wonder, could another implosion be around the corner? Still, there is reason for optimism. The BET biopic proved that their story continues to captivate millions. Younger fans who weren't even alive during Candy Girl have discovered New Edition through streaming and social media. This resurgence of interest could fuel collaborations with modern R&B or hip-hop artists, bridging generations. We may even see New Edition experiment with documentaries, podcasts, or memoirs diving deeper into their history with the honesty fans crave. So where does that leave us? At a crossroads. One path points toward a final act of unity, a farewell album, a Vegas run, and a celebration tour that cements them as living legends. The other path whispers danger, familiar cracks, old rivalries, and the possibility that history may repeat itself. For now, all we know is this New Edition has survived every storm thrown at them. Whether they rise higher or collapse again will depend on whether the brothers can finally put ego aside for legacy. And that lingering uncertainty is exactly why fans will keep watching. As the curtain falls on this journey through New Edition's past, one truth remains undeniable. Despite the betrayals, addictions, and violent clashes, they have carved their names permanently into the history of R&B. Their music defined a generation inspiring boy bands from New Kids on the Block to Boys II Men, and their choreography and style set a blueprint still echoed in today's pop landscape. Awards like the Soul Train Lifetime Achievement Award, their Hollywood Walk of Fame star, and induction into the National Rhythm and Blues Hall of Fame are proof of their lasting influence. These honors remind us that for all their darkness, New Edition left behind light that continues to shine. But legacy isn't built only on trophies and plaques. It's built on scars, lessons, and the resilience to stand back up after every fall. Bobby Brown's chaos, Ricky Bell's private battles, Ralph Tresvant, and Johnny Gill's controversial trademark decision. All of these fractures could have destroyed the group forever. And yet, time after time, they have found ways to reunite, even if only briefly, to remind the world of the magic they created as kids from Boston. Still, the shadows can't be ignored. The $187 paychecks, the fists flying on stage, the overdose behind closed doors, the legal disputes all raise a haunting question. Was New Edition's turbulence the result of personal flaws or the ruthless nature of an industry that exploits youth and pits brothers against each other for profit? And that is where you, the audience, come in. Do you see their scandals as tragic consequences of fame, young men crushed by forces larger than themselves? Or do you believe the blame lies within the egos? The choices, the personal demons that each member carried? Was New Edition a victim of show business, or were they architects of their own downfall? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We want to hear your perspective. And if you want to keep uncovering the hidden stories of music's biggest legends, don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. Because trust us, this is only the beginning. There are still countless untold secrets, betrayals, and moments of redemption waiting to be revealed. The story of New Edition proves one thing: legends are not made in perfection but in survival. And while the spotlight may fade, the questions, the mysteries, and the debates will keep their name alive for generations. So tell us, were New Edition's darkest moments simply the price of fame, or something far more dangerous?